Hey, it's Lyndsey Parker from Yahoo Music. I'm here on TVDoneRight.com to talk about what else? American Idol. Sometimes I do so with the help of visual aids. It helps sometimes helps me sort out my pain a little more because I'm very sad right now that Casey Abrams has a red X over his face. Some of you watched all scintillating 11 plus minutes of me assembling this board in my little arts and crafts project I did on camera a few weeks ago. When I first originally assembled this board, they're sticky, you see, so you can place the pictures wherever you want. I did it based on my personal preference, and although some of my opinions have changed, as you can see, I had Haley way at the bottom at that time, and I actually really like Haley now. I also had James a little lower, I had him below Jacob, and I certainly would switch these two places by now. But when I initially did this based on my first impressions in Top 13 week, I had Casey really high up. And I continued to feel that way about him throughout the season. And now both of my boys, Paul and Casey, who, you know, at one time I dreamed of a Paul versus Casey finale. And as Steven Tyler would say, dream on. So not going to happen. In retrospect, it's kind of interesting that I thought Casey had such a chance, because here's a guy who, when asked by Ryan Seacrest who he'd like his dream duet to be with of any musician, living or dead, in the history of music, he chooses Oscar Peterson. And considering that there are a lot of American Idols who don't seem to even know who the Beatles are, and there's probably a lot of people who are watching this week, which was Carole King week, who had the frig idea who Carole King is. Oscar Peterson is a real stretch. Kudos to him that he got this far. Obviously, technically he was voted off twice. He was voted off this week for good. But had the judges' save not been used on him in Top 11 week, he would have been gone like 5 weeks ago. I'm glad he got to stick around. First of all, because he gave some awesome performances in the time that he had back on the show. And the more face time he gets on TV, the more likely he'll get a record deal out of this. And regardless of where he places, I'm very eager to hear what he'll do on record. And finally, you know, he got his stuff together. We all know that he had this incredibly dramatic Top 11 night when he was saved, where he pretty much came this close to vomiting all over Ryan Seacrest. You know, I seriously looked like he looked like he was gonna hurl. Medics almost had to cart him away. He was freaking out. This week he kept his stuff together. He was on point. It was the best Idol exit ever. He looked like he was campaigning for presidency, and maybe he should after this. Maybe he can't win Idol, but he could win Casey for president. He was shaking babies, kissing Steven Tyler, kissing chicks in the audience. He had James Durbin, a man worthy of worship himself these days, on his knees going like this. So kudos to you, Casey. And he came this close to kissing Kaylee Reinhardt when he was singing, I Put a Spell on You, and he's like, because you're mine. And they were like this, and I was like, kiss, kiss, kiss. But no, this is a family-friendly show. We already got enough of the sexual tension between them with all their duets and their little interviews where they talk about how they like to growl with each other. Keep on growling, kids. Do some kind of collabos in the future. I wouldn't mind you guys becoming the Sonny and Cher of American Idol, because you guys are Idol's cutest couple. Even cuter than Jacob and James. And for those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, perhaps it's for the best if you missed the interesting duet they had to do on Wednesday night. James Durbin and Jacob Lusk, who I don't think are exactly BFFs, because last week when Stefano Langoti went home instead of Jacob Lusk, like, James didn't even try to pretend he was like happy Jacob stayed. He was like crying. He was like, no, why couldn't it have been Jacob? Which must have been very awkward when a few days later they were told they had to do a Herman's Hermits duet together. Wasn't as bad as it sounds. It was actually kind of cute. They made the most of it and had some fun, but it was pretty silly. I'm actually very surprised Jacob Lusk survived after that. I've been predicting Jacob's going to go for a while, but he did not go. I guess he was in the bottom three. The bottom three were Casey, obviously, Jacob, who everyone thought was the goner, and very surprisingly, Scotty McCreery. Now, Ryan Seacrest did point out that this was random. He was calling the numbers in random, the names in random. I don't know if this means that Scotty wasn't really in the bottom three or he just wasn't in the bottom two. It's quite possible Scotty was never in the bottom three and he was just put there for dramatic effect, which would make a lot of sense because he's never been in the bottom three before, and he actually was really great this week. Best I'd ever seen him. So it's hard to believe that America would have put him on the chopping block this week. But just even seeing him there, even if it was just figurative, just seeing him and Casey standing there waiting to find out which one of them was going to go home probably took him down a peg. It definitely was shocking just to visualize that. And it kind of drummed home the point that there is no real frontrunner in this. We've got 5 people left. Haley, Scotty, Lauren, who I'm not feeling these days, Jacob, who, you know, a lot of people thought should have gone a few weeks ago, and James, who's beginning to look like the real frontrunner. I'm still kind of predicting it's going to be a Scotty-James finale, but it's really anybody's game. No one would have thought Haley would have been in the top 5 a few weeks ago. Now she looks like she might actually have a shot at the whole thing. You don't know, and it's very interesting. It's what keeps us us bloggers and viewers on our toes. But for a while, you know, obviously my dream of a Casey Paul finale was dashed long ago, and I was kind of hoping for a James Casey finale, but yeah, not gonna happen. Casey, you had a good long run. You went out in style. You went out like a man. You did your woman Haley proud. I kind of hope some of your votes, Casey, go to Haley. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. But it's going to be very interesting to see how this pans out. You know, because of the random votes, we don't actually know how, you know, who really was safe and who really wasn't this week. And yeah, to be Nigel Lithgow right now and get to look at those results, I would die, because we might be surprised. A lot of times we think people that are really popular and our fan favorites, in fact, are not. Piet Scotto. That was smooth. So you don't know. And we probably won't know until, you know, a few weeks from now. But considering that Jimmy Iovine said that Jacob Lusk was on banana peel status, which apparently is a technical music business term, I think he should still be a little worried. And but I really think everyone needs to bring it. So bring it, kids. Give me something to write about, something to talk about. Until then, tvdoneright.com. Parker out.